My psycho wife did this with our son to test me. She is flipping out cause I turn tables to teach her. Am I the AH for this? My wife has a horrible habit that I discovered 2 months ago. We were ordering lunch on the Subway app and I told her to pick the location that has a drive-through. That way we don't have to go inside and take the baby out of the car just to clip him back in a few minutes later. She told me it's not a big deal to leave the baby in the car to run in and pick it up really fast. I had no idea she ever did this. I told her I was not comfortable with her leaving him in the car alone even for a minute, and she told me she's been doing it since he was born and it's always been fine. She told me she does it to pick up food, run into the post office or pharmacy, etc. I was floored. We don't live in a horrible area, but it's also not super safe either. I told her to not ever do this again. She told me she never stopped to think about the potential dangers and that she would stop doing it. Well, yesterday as I was driving home from my brother's house, I spotted her car at the gas station near our place. It was parked in a spot up front and not a pump, so I figured she stopped in to grab some snacks, which we like to do. I decided to stop and go in and say hi and get some food, and I pulled in and parked next to her. However, when I got there I was furious to find our son in his car seat. The car wasn't even locked. I don't know what came over me, but at that moment I decided to take my son and put him into my car. He's got a car seat in there too. I then drove to the other side of the gas station parking lot and waited for my wife to come out. It took 6 minutes for her to appear. When she saw that he was gone, she looked stunned for a second and then started to frantically look around and cry. I didn't let it go on long. After this I saw her pull her phone out, presumably to call 911, and that's when I pulled my car around to her. I parked, got out and walked around to my son's door, and opened it to show him to her. She looked extremely relieved, but that quickly turned to anger with her asking me why I took him, and did that to her. I told her she needed to learn her lesson and she promised to stop leaving him in the car, and that she was extremely irresponsible. It was so easy for me to pull up and take him. No one else at the gas station even noticed. So if he really was taken, there would have been no help, and it would have been 100% her fault. She proceeded to call me cruel and psychotic and tried taking our son out of my car into hers. I said no and that I would be driving him home, and I left. She came home not much later, but ignored me the rest of the day. She acknowledged me today saying she wanted an apology, and I said absolutely not, and she's the one who should be saying sorry. She's been guilt-tripping me the rest of the day, saying no mother should experience the fear I put her through. Did I go too far? Aita? We have reached the end of the story. Let's listen to some of the comments by our Reddit listeners. Comment 1. Normally I'm fully against game playing, but this is your child's life. I support your actions. Your wife is being hugely neglectful. Not to mention it'll be warm soon, and being left in a hot car even for a few minutes can be fatal. NTA, and I wouldn't let her take him anywhere until she apologizes. OP reply. I guess I should clarify that the car was running with the air on. I forgot to add that detail and was restricted by the character limit, but the car was on. It's a push-to-start car with a sensor for the key fob, so it'll stay on/running as long as you are close enough to the vehicle. I didn't see the keys in the car, so she took them inside with her, but didn't lock it. Comment 2. Yes, it was an AH move, but that's a lesson she needs to learn. No young child or infant should be left in the car alone for many reasons. Who knows what could happen if someone stole the car or decided to take the baby? Honestly, don't let your wife have him in the car when it's just him and her if she's going to risk his life. What if she locks the keys inside during an extremely hot or cold day? 10 minutes could mean passing away by the time she comes back to the car and calls the police or gets someone nearby to help. Update on this situation. I sat my wife down this morning and apologized for the way I went about things, but said I was not sorry for caring about our son's safety, and at the moment felt like she needed a huge wake-up call. She apologized for lying and continuing to do this unsafe practice. I asked her why she seemed so casual about what she is doing. Most parents I know, myself included, are on the paranoid side when it comes to their kids, and she has been doing this for so long without seeing an issue. I asked if she thinks she's dealing with some kind of postpartum mental health issue, as I don't consider this normal. She broke down crying, saying she doesn't know what's wrong with her. She has agreed to seek counseling, and until there is a major change/improvement, I will be running all errands with my son, or we will be doing them together, but I told her I cannot trust her anymore to take him places by herself. My wife badmouthed a random person, so I held mirror up to her despite the past trauma. She can't believe it and went nuts on me. Context: I, 36, male, work as a bus driver. I've been doing the same route for about 5 years, and I've gotten to know my regulars pretty well to the point where I'd consider most of us friends. I enjoy my job and conversation, and socializing comes easily to me. My wife, 36, female, works in an office and drives, so she's never really met any of my regular passengers. So I've been married for about 5 years now, and we've got 2 little kids, for M and 1F, and every few weeks we do the big shop where we go to the big Asda, Walmart for you Americans. Everything was fine, and we were getting through the list with the kids sitting in the trolley when I heard my wife make a noise of disgust, and I looked up to follow her gaze and saw one of my regulars getting her own shopping done. Let's call her L, 27F. L is a goth, very monochrome color scheme, always in black velvet and lace, black lipstick, powdered white face, some visible tattoos, the works. But she's a lovely girl, very sweet, works as a sign language interpreter at a local secondary school, involved with age concern in her spare time, and working towards a PhD. All-round nice young lady. My wife launches into a snarky tirade about her appearance. Look at that, why would you choose to look like that? Just asking for attention, then probably complains she can't get a job. She looks like a witch, it's creepy, wouldn't want that in any place of work, probably on pills, etc. etc. I told her to stop it, as she was being very rude and judgmental, but kept going and saying increasingly worse things about L, not even toning down her vitriol in front of the kids. I'll be honest, I wasn't the best guy when I was younger, and if I'd seen L when I was in school I probably would have made fun of her too, but we're all adults here, and I think it's time we left that attitude behind us. Even if I didn't know L, I'd think that sort of talk is inappropriate, especially as my oldest is very impressionable and due to start school in September, and I don't want him thinking that's an acceptable way to behave. My wife was bullied severely during her teen years, and she's told me how much of an impact it has to this day. Eventually, I just told her to shut up and stop acting like the same bullies that made her life hell when she was in school. She shut up quickly. She hasn't spoken to me since, and I got an angry text from SIL telling me I hurt my wife beyond words, and how dare I compare her to her school bullies who traumatized her so badly as a teenager. I've tried explaining my side, and how I want to set a good example for the kids, and also that L was a friend of mine, who gave us a congratulations card when we had both our children, but neither one will listen, and I'm thinking I might have gone too far. We have reached the end of the story. Let's listen to some of the comments by our Reddit listeners. Comment 1, NTA. Honestly, I could write a bunch of paragraphs, but it seems to really just boil down to your wife not liking the fact that you held a mirror up to her personality, and she wasn't prepared for the reflection. Comment 2, hurting people hurts others. Not always, they can learn to be better, as OP has done. But if they don't acknowledge and choose to change, they become as bad as their misusers. And a lot of bullies are just bullies, enabled and allowed to be mean all their lives. What is OP's wife teaching their kids? If OP did not call her out on it, he would be teaching them that it's just fine. Comment 3. It sounds like you demeaned your wife in front of your kids. What message is that sending to them? Fight meanness and rudeness with more meanness/rudeness? As soon as she started her rant, you could have interrupted and said, actually, L is a great person. This would hopefully lead to little/no conflict with the wife, but lead her and your kids by showing them what kindness and compassion looks like. You knowingly used a traumatic event in her past to tear her down and exert your power over her. This is honestly a lot closer to bullying in my opinion.